Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Left 4 Dead. This game apparently has a bit of a memory leak, and while I was trying to stream my Monday, Wednesday, Friday live streams, talking about video game news and playing Shadowverse somewhat, um, the game just in the middle of the stream crashed. Um, I don't think that really matters too much because I believe we were at the point where we were going to be starting a new campaign anyways. Let's think. Yeah, we had just finished Dead Air, so we only have what I feel like are DLC elements um, that were added later, because I really feel like there was only these four storylines. And it certainly would make sense that once you're on a military cargo plane, which is what you get on, or it looks like a plane like that, once you're on something like that and it's fully fueled up, I think you probably can fly very, very far away from the zombie outbreak, assuming it's just not all over the world. You probably could fly to a remote island of some sort. Um, it seems like it's not airborne. We saw that written on the walls as far as backstory. Um, or if it is airborne, it seems like some people are immune, which might also be the possibility. Doesn't really matter. Even though there is a game called Dead Island, you find a small enough island, and there's going to be such a limited number of people on there, um, anyways, that you could uh, kill all the zombies and secure your um, fortress there if you have to do that. Plus, a island leads to potentially fishing opportunities, assuming the fish are edible. It makes a lot more sense if you could find a nice island that is just a mile or two off of a large city. That would make a lot of sense too. Um, you could also think of a desert, like Las Vegas being overrun by zombies. If the zombies in any way get dehydrated or dry out after a while, which they probably would, they would just decompose fairly quickly. So, a Vegas would potentially be a very isolated desert area that has got enough buildings and resources to live in for a while. Although Vegas is particularly too hot, and most deserts would have that problem, certainly. And if you were just going to go to a desert to be isolated, you could fly to the Sahara Desert and live there. Yeah, from North America, you might also want to go to like Alaska and see if the zombies can't fight the cold. That seems to often be an issue. Um, too. I guess at this point we've done everybody, so I feel like I want to go in circles instead of random. Otherwise, we're gonna end up getting Lewis multiple times. So we'll just start with Bill and then play as Bill and Zoe again. I was looking at the trailer, the loading trailer that plays, and you start the whole intro video seeing how Bill has been scratched on his clothes have been torn on his back. It'd be interesting if we made it to the final scenario and it turned out that he was injured, not infected, just injured, and thus he dies. I mean, the final scenario is called the sacrifice. Plus, he is the older, like, teacher, mentor character, so it would make sense for him to die, and then for in a sequel for them to throw in a new character, and that could even be like storyline wise, the idea that it's always a group of four that they want to have. It would also have been good writing if like Francis had done some bad stuff in his previous life and he had revealed that, and then he turns makes the heroic sacrifice. Um, or Lewis was always a little scared and he did the heroic sacrifice. Zoe sacrificing herself. I mean, you have to give her some kind of backstory, certainly. it would have to be some kind of character growth moment like the others, um, where where she was like young and inexperienced and never knew what to do with her life, and then she sacrifices herself heroically, um, feeling like this was the best thing she could ever do for society in this environment. Dead air. What? No. No, I did not want to play Dead Air. I clicked on the wrong thing, which is probably fine that I made that mistake, because I also think um I probably didn't change it to easy either. So yeah, looking at the trailer, it would be interesting to see if Bill had been injured the whole time and hiding his injury. It would be interesting if we were going to make the witch the main boss, that the first time she showed up, her wailing would just call the big bruiser character.
I heard the military's got a safe zone north of here. We just gotta follow the train track.
All right, then, let's do it.
So we're back into a different forest. Now it's Allegheny National Forest. Like, where's the plane, though? Like, somewhere we've been able to see the plane before. The story really does not make a lot of sense now, that they would have potentially had a full plane and then ended up just landing near a forest and living in the forest.
Yeah,
In this
let's do it.
specific scenario, I feel like you could have easily put a plane in the crash. This is more of an experiment in fogginess than some of the other levels. But in this zombie, the way the zombies have perpetrated, we haven't seen any. Yeah. Crouching helps teammates shoot over you. So they still know that I don't crouch. But most people wouldn't. Like, if anything, you'd almost have to automate that.
Reloading!
Like, I don't know how you would really do that. The main problem, I would guess, is the fact that the crouch button is the left bump, when really it should be the left stick, because clicking the left stick would make a lot of sense.
Reloading!
But yeah, the fact that we don't see any zombie animals, no bears, no dogs, cats, wolves, anything like that. Hiding in the forest kind of makes some sense. Kind of. This is really going to be an experiment on just having a lot of trees in the way. And I'm just still trying to, I guess, get achievements more than anything. Yeah, there's just all kinds of zombies that are going to come out of the hidden shrubbery, where this concept on its own in a forest is only so interesting, but it would have been a lot more interesting if there had just been more trees in a lot of the other environments. She just said yoink. Does that mean she's found something? I definitely remember playing this scenario, I think. So this may very well have come with the game. And I think there is a highlighted issue certainly around a game being called Left 4 Dead, or having the number of 4 in the name, because there's just that possibility that they would have felt that they could have gotten away with having only four levels. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense if the zombies are attracted to movement or sounds for them to have gone into a forest like this. There should be considerably fewer zombies in this forest, unless you're going to do what Back 4 Blood may very well do, which is imply that the trolls in Back 4 Blood, or the zombies in this case of the game, are
this look like home to you?
are like always mutating, and thus the idea of them always mutating and having more time to mutate in the forest would make them potentially stronger. Like very, very quickly here we are upgrading our guns, and I definitely remember that being stuck in a sequence here and respawning, which does not really make any sense.
Fire in the hole! Ready!
Like there's nothing here, so
Reloading!
you also have a fairly obvious problem with the trees being this thick with foliage.
Nice.
One of the achievements is to shoot the hunter as he's mid-air with a shotgun, which would mean I would have to play with the shotgun, which highlights kind of the original intent of achievements to push the player to play in varied and different ways to make the game potentially more interesting for most, but maybe not all, because there certainly is going to be a percentage of people that more like to min-max it, and once they've determined what the maximum best outcome is, they won't want to go any further. Interesting. It seems like you could just take a shortcut and jump down there. Okay. So, seems like that entire section was a particularly linear experience.
Reloading!
And that seems like it's fairly boring. Here we have another respawn. Here, let's see.
Grenade! Fire in the hole!
And I guess these grenades don't really, they don't really ever hit trees or anything. But I really have to question, did you really have to walk all the way around here? Or is there any real reason to eliminate people? This definitely feels like a game that should give you a final battle that includes the number of zombies you did not kill up until this point.
I'm with you.
That's the entire safe house. Like, so
Need some help over here.
Don't worry, I got you, man.
Need some help over here.
I'm here. I got you, man. Grab my hand and we're gonna get you back on solid ground.
Thanks for that.
So, yeah, jumping down there is not an option. Now, can I get anybody to attack before these guys run back into the thing? So basically, they got an achievement, not me.
Tremendous.
Yeah, that was pathetically linear, and it really highlights that there was an entire building there that they had not finished designing the inside of, from what I would guess. Head north to Echo, whatever that means. Let's see, I guess we'll try the shotgun for just fun. Follow the tracks. Unless this next section, which is labeled the tunnel, starts with us going through that whole area that we walked past. That was a very outside level, and it really highlights that the limiting factor as far as how wide and open world the games really can be. And it's pretty bad. Like, I feel like other games were way more open world at the same time that this would have come out. Of course, as long as you sell this as a multiplayer game, people were excited about it for the initial launch window, and maybe that's all it really took. One really cannot deny that the Orange Box was 100% an experiment of Valve putting out games just to kind of prove that they still make games, and I'm sure if they had the full resources of all the people employed there and the full cooperation of all the people employed there, you would have had you would have had a much bigger experience. And even now, that is a major problem with they won't jump through the sanctuary area, will they? It's funny, I hear him, but I don't think the hunter wants to work through this narrow section of stairway, which we've seen these stairways before. We've probably seen a little bit of everything before. I'm just assuming. Come on, Hunter. Well, we tried for the achievement. Here we've got some more breakable walls. Severely underused concept. The next step would have been to take the breakable walls and expand it to breakable trees or breakable items. So now we're on the catwalks, which does seem like there's a lot of ways to get up on the catwalks. It said I killed the boomer because I set a fire like a minute ago. trick here with a shotgun is to try and make sure you get an actual hit. Otherwise, you're just going to end up meleeing and try and save your life. And everything that really highlights how the shotgun is a pretty awful gun in this game. Whereas the shotgun is usually a very good gun in a first-person shooter. This one has a kind of unbalanced long reload, a short range of effect, it feels like. I don't think I can shotgun something. We can experiment with this. I guess it does work. Lewis. Is Lewis around? Nope. What's the way down here? Just this? Yeah. Let's see. We want to put that there, I guess. And when we open this emergency door, it's going to set off all kinds of alarms in this warehouse area. This train track area. So I guess they are escaping on a train. That was something that I suggested, is that this was basically just planes, trains, and automobiles, the game, as far as going down the list. Which they pretty much would have to, I guess, redo that same gimmick in Left 4 Dead 2 if they even cared enough to have that as a gimmick. Because, like, you're not gonna have them escape on submarines and then roller coasters and like ridiculous, less possible forms of transportation. Roller coasters not really being a form of transportation at all. I suppose it is worth pointing out that some zombie movies are all about the zombies being an actual threat, and some zombie movies are all about the
Got a weapon here.
Come on, man, use your first aid kit.
the potential death of as many creatures as possible in a gory, horrific way. So there's a couple more of these. But yeah, there's a high chance this is all just going to go badly. Right. The thing here is you open this alarm. And I'm stuck in the door. What is hitting me? Yeah. The thought would have been, I guess, that they were going to come through that way a lot more, because they're definitely not coming this way. And this is not really one of those doors you can shoot through. It took forever, but took forever to shoot a tiny hole through the door. And then we're back to areas that are particularly dark. Guess you could have used that to to shoot at them, or if these were multiplayer levels, which at some point these must have been multiplayer levels, where it was designed for versus. And we do know versus exist, but the way it's designed, it doesn't seem like the levels are really considered to be first and foremost for player versus player. Although it could also be that all the levels were first designed for player versus player, and then they blocked off a bunch of areas, and we may find that the versus levels actually do have more doors open. That wouldn't be uncommon or particularly weird in a first-person shooter game. Although I don't think that's probably the case here, because what that would require is for people to have two blocked off paths in lots of areas, and often we just see like one blocked off door that couldn't really possibly connect to another blocked off door that is halfway down the map. And I guess we can go out this way. And I guess that's probably what we're supposed to do. Either we go up that way. Or we go out via the top area. Again, you have this metal roof scenario. A lot of this looks very much like a lot of this feels very much like this could have been Half-Life area designs. From what I've seen, like the very first section, well, the early section of Half-Life 1 is kind of on a railroad track and sewer sections, and I guess that's not really that different from most games though, so those are all fairly generic environments: railways, sewers, tunnels. So they've seemingly given a ladder on everything. And this is that area. So they had finished it, assuming, but they just teased it as if it was a specifically good or important area, when it really isn't. You know, you have these sliding gates. Then kind of more of a shadowy area here versus a lit area. And we could climb up there.
Weapons here.
I'll take the shotgun.
This is a nice rifle.
I'm gonna go ahead and take this though. Yeah, until you get the achievement for killing 53,000 zombies, there's no reason not to be using this gun. Like, you cannot play as the support character for the rest of the team, particularly in single player. So I hear the witch. So you can get a little bit of an advantage that way. But I mean, you would have had to go this way anyways. There's apparently a hole in the ceiling at some point that makes it trigger a makes it trigger the cricket sound for a second there. Right. And there we go, we have the cricket sound. There goes my grenade. And again, this is probably higher resolution physics issue, but we're just like consistently walking in a specific place where we get a little cricket chirp, which I'm almost certain is not intentional. If they wanted the crickets to chirp, that would have been fine. I wouldn't have questioned it one bit, but you would expect the crickets to consistently chirp, not just make a single sound and then stop. Right. I'm wasting too many bullets. That would have probably been a better place for the witch to be. Of course, there's no reason for the witch to be sought out and attacked. It doesn't give any major reward, where probably would make a lot more sense if you defeated the witch for her to drop guns, like upgrades, and that be the only way you can get a gun upgrade is taking on a witch. It might be an idea that you might want to have 4 tiers of guns, and like defeating a smoker gives you tier 1, or a boomer gives you tier 1, and then smoker gives you tier 2, and then hunter gives you tier 3, gigantuan gives you tier 4.
Let's get up that ladder.
And then the witch gives you the ultimate tier 5. Like, even the boomer, when it explodes, doesn't kill zombies. It's weird. We have to really think about whether this scenario fits chronologically after Dead Air, because it kinda doesn't. It would make a lot more sense if this happened after, like, Crash Course or the Dead Toll scenario.
I know we'd make it.
But I guess it probably also just highlights that they really weren't too concerned about it being a chronological story. And that tunnel would have been another place where you would have potentially scripted the witch to show up and either call the gargantuan or attack. It would be fine if every time the witch attacked it was a timed attack where she did a average amount of damage to everybody and then left after a minute, and maybe it was all about just running and keeping yourself alive. Echo. Again, we see Echo, which Echo would mean probably Site E, but without any pre-labeled map. A Site E doesn't really exist.
Pills here.
Grabbing pills.
Pills here.
Who doesn't have pills?
Might need these.
And these guys take forever to grab things.
This side passage better lead somewhere.
Guys, I got a good feeling about this.
It probably should have been more tunnels like this where it was dimly lit and there was a lot of narrow passages, because that works with their AI as it is fairly limited. And the graffiti being repeated and the pipes being repeated is not something that people are going to really notice too much in the darkness. That's interesting. That is too dark. Or just pitch black in the way it ends. Let's see how that feels if we were to really just crouch down. If anything, I think
Reloading.
the AI should be the ones crouching down. That would make more sense. And see, this is what I'm talking about. If this was a blocked off passage for multiplayer, then this would have to connect in the map in some way, and it would have to turn that very narrow tunnel into a multiplayer map, which it does not feel like that you could do that very easily. And we are just back in the forest, so this really feels like this would have made a lot more sense if we were still just working our way through Riverside.
Reloading.
There's this compromise, not this time because it's multiplayer, but a compromise that has been made to make each scene its own discrete scenario, and thus they are trying to make it relatively the same length.
Reloading.
Whereas if you had it as just a long single storyline, that wouldn't be a problem.
Reloading.
I don't know if you couldn't, in the multiplayer way in which this is played, have a story that just kind of goes in circles anyways, and drop in and drop out people could be 4 or 5 hours into a single storyline scenario story, but it wouldn't matter because everything is just centered around the idea of shooting zombies anyways. You know what you're supposed to do, and it's not like this game is telling a deep story anyways.
Reloading.
We basically learned nothing in Mercy or No Mercy or Dead Air or
Reloading.
Death Toll. Like, there's no big revelations. There's no increases of difficulty. It's all benignly and boringly balanced for multiplayer. Even if you do have an AI director that gets bored and sometimes throws a bunch of zombies at you, even that is fairly balanced. And the number of zombies just don't matter. One of the more recent kind of flop mediocre zombie games called Days Gone just got a mod that would bump up the number of zombies possible on the screen to 670. And on hearing that news, I think no one in their right mind is going to be any more interested in playing Days Gone. It is not the number of zombies that really matters. Although, in all fairness, this 13-year-old game would do a lot better if it could have 10 times as many zombies on screen. But that would be a small improvement. The same number of zombies could be on screen, and you could double the artificial intelligence programmed inside of it, and that would probably be way more impactful. Like if these zombies also had more, if the zombies just had more health in general, I would appreciate that. See, and this is the next locked door, so it'd be very weird if this locked door was on the other side of that locked door, because then that would kind of require it to be a case that this was a much longer level than it really is. And I guess you would have to really improve the level design too, and you'd really have to improve the amount of weapons, and you basically would have to just remake the whole game. It would be a full-on reboot. And I guess that's what we're looking for Back for Blood, is scarier, better looking zombies, more zombies slightly, but not to the point where you have like 670. Like 670 is a fairly high amount. It's too much. Alright.
Pills here. Francis, heal up.
Francis already has pills.
Molotov over here.
Can we throw a Molotov and get something over in that direction? This is a very narrow area.
Molotov.
And so you're bottlenecked, and that's not something you really want. Let's see. There's a door here, and only there. Yeah. We'll take that guy. We're back to the creek sound effects. And I guess we're going that way. So we'll throw those grenades that way. Then I see a Molotov over here. There's no secrets, no collectibles in the game, so nothing there. You would... Even if there wasn't like a video game element to collectibles, there could have been Easter eggs. It seems like as free as Valve pretends it is as a company towards its employees and them doing whatever they want, it seems like they are fairly controlling when it comes to people bearing Easter eggs or putting their own pictures or anything in the game, whereas at least in the Fear games, I think a lot of the photos of people on desks and things were actually people who worked on the game.
Reloading.
These are always useless.
Ammo here.
Let's go ahead and get refill on ammo. There's a
Watch out.
there's a kind of Yoda sounding zombie. It goes I'm hearing that. And we're getting back to the witch, and it feels like they're trying to have us have more witch encounters than normal. Alright, well, is there any way we're getting past this? No.
Fire in the hole.
Almost got there. Almost did it all without dying.
Look!
How do you feel?
Hell if I know.
You'll be fine.
That's one I owe you.
Wait up. This will only take
Watch
a
my
second.
back.
See, I guess if you heal yourself, that stops other people from healing you.
Hey, tough guy, heal up.
Let's see. They shouldn't really give them nicknames unless they were going to use those nicknames all throughout the game. Him saying, "Hey, tough guy, heal up," is such a generic
You know, bet we can knock
phrase.
that bridge down.
Why would I knock the bridge down?
Reloading!
Like, because I assume he's telling Francis that he needs to heal, but
Reloading.
Francis is high on pills, and his health does not seem to really go down as fast as my health does when on pills. So he's not willing to heal. Here we've got some generators that look different than the Transformers. Here we have another spawn bathroom.
Ammo here! Reloading! Pills here! Pills?
And they grab those pills a lot faster than they normally do. These zombies blend in
Reloading!
quite well with the area behind them. And that's one of those things where you're just not sure if that's a bug or a feature. Like, that may very well be their intent, is that they have a very dull, dark color palette, and it is the same color palette being shared for the foliage, the ground, and the environment that the zombies tend to be in. Or let's see.
Reloading!
Or this could be just a case of
Francis, you should use your med kit.
bad visual design.
Reloading!
We're seeing some military guys. We don't really have any reason to be saying military guys, but whatever.
Reloading!
This is an interesting point because
Reloading!
Francis keeps on taking
God
pills.
Damn it, the tracks are blocked.
I don't understand what we're doing here. I guess we're just releasing the train to break the things. And we'll just have to figure out where they're coming. Small selection of people over there. Person there. Nobody coming out from that direction.
Reloading!
There is a probable balance here where I should be able to unload a clip and take out one way fairly easily, where I'm still leaving a few people.
Reloading!
And so that kind of gives me the feeling like that the waves as they come should potentially be slightly smaller to balance it out, or the assault rifle should have slightly more bullets.
Wait up, Francis. You might want to heal.
Right. So we have rebuilt and destroyed this, and this is about the third destructible environment area we've seen, and this is the first time that there's an actual destructible environment area that we actually transverse. Or have to transverse, I think. I'm not sure we've blown up anything else. And this is going to end up putting us back on a very linear forest area, it looks like. There's a lot of places here where it seems like it would fairly obviously potentially kill you right as you are about to get into the safe house, which would kind of suck. Like, so if I go in here and then was to say try and fall to my death, I mean, I don't know if it would even count this as a fall. I may literally just go back down there and maybe take a little bit of damage. Let's go ahead and kill that. And see, this is chapter 4 in less than 50 minutes.
You should heal up.
So apparently Francis just healed himself. So either that or the non-player characters automatically get their health back when taking pills. Which, if that's the case, then you should definitely give pills to everybody right before they start.
Let me heal you up.
Because right before you enter a safe house,
Sure thing, kid.
because that would work very well. Again, no reason to have two different styles of bullets. This is the right way to have a pile of bullets in a game if it's going to be the same bullets for all guns, basically. So, because that is very colorful and recognizable, whereas the other canister of bullets that's just a silver can is very unrecognizable. Following the tracks Echo. So unless Echo is going to be a bad guy and we're going to have an actual bad guy in a scenario, we have to assume that Echo is good. Although this is spelled E-C-C-O, not E-C-H-O. It would be weird to introduce a bad guy this late in the game. You'd kind of want it at the end as a surprise. Here's a bad human. He was involved in actually spreading the virus or creating the virus. Here's your Wesker. Here's your Umbrella Corporation concept. Here's the conspiracy. Like, had you introduced that near the end of Dead Air in a big boss fight while you were getting on the plane, that would have been the point to do it. Because now if they introduce a bad guy, then there will only be one more scenario in which you potentially could defeat the bad guy. Sorry, I took a moment there to drink some water. Alright, well, then this is going to be where I end it, because if I go another chapter, we'll go over. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.